So, JumpTown's running at the time I record this. It has a day or two left, and I posted a poll asking if many people had been taking part. It was rather split, with more than half saying they don't PvP and they were content to carry on with the normal gamut of activities they engage in. And I understand that sentiment. I'm much the same most of the time. I'm not big on PvP and particularly bad at it. Ask these guys here. Not only that, I usually play solo or with friends I game with outside of Star Citizen, but lately that number is pretty low. As many of you are likely aware, the particular flavor of no that Star Citizen provides tends to push away all but the most determined or gluttonous for punishment. But I've been trying to be more social within Star Citizen and with some of the community members I've met through the game. And with that, and JumpTown being active now, I've been doing my utmost to say yes when JumpTown calls, whether it be the local security faction or Rudo blasting out over comms. Seriously, I wish they'd let us turn that off. Now, that's not to say that I've been knee-deep in bodies and maze for the entirety of JumpTown, but I can honestly say I've never spent so much time there in the whole year and a half I've been playing Star Citizen. And that's kind of what brings me to the whole point of this video, and the intro call to action that I beat like a well-worn drum. Citizens, my name's Beard of Oz, and today I'll be talking about why, if you don't already, you should be having a crack at events like JumpTown. I'll share some of my experiences from solo play to group activity, and why I think overall the experience will allow you to enjoy Star Citizen just a little bit more. I'm not your mum, so you don't have to do it, but hear me out and I might just convince you. If what I have to say makes you want to give it a crack, hit that like button, and hell, subscribe while you're at it too. Alright, let's dive in. Now, this point won't apply to everyone, but I'm addressing the 50% that answered the poll with I don't PvP, so I'll be doing regular tasks. As I've mentioned, I'm much the same in that mindset. I've never been particularly fond of PvP encounters, so generally speaking, I'll avoid them where I can. And as many pilots that I encountered in the skies above the drug facility can attest, I'm pretty awful when it comes to dogfighting. But I gave it the old college try because what else am I going to do with that buccaneer just gathering dust in my hangar? Ultimately though, I think PvP is a good thing to dip your toes into, even if you aren't interested in combat as a profession or career path in the game. We've already begun to see elements of professions and corresponding mechanics and mission types blur the lines between PvE and PvP in Star Citizen, and as more of these mechanics are refined and expanded upon, and the lauded expansion of the player pool with server meshing wearing its shirt boldly declaring soon TM, the days of the great divide between PvE and PvP are numbered. Ultimately, if you plan on basing your experience in Star Citizen firmly in the PvE side of activities and game loops, having enough experience with the PvP side of things can benefit you should the world of PvP come knocking, whether it be for your cargo or just for their fun. The ability that comes with enough exposure to player conflict to remain calm in the heat of that exchange is invaluable. Should the encounter result in your in-game death and potential loss of cargo and items, the ability to accept that sometimes things don't always result in a win, and PvP is and shall continue to be an integral part of Star Citizen, will only serve to further your enjoyment of the game, even in the face of a temporary setback. Ultimately, the point I'm trying to make here is that even if PvP isn't your thing, it's a core part of Star Citizen, and shall continue to expand into many areas that it previously hasn't had much involvement with. So, what better way to prepare yourself for future engagements than a specifically and controlled environment like JumpTown? Like most dynamic events, JumpTown offers a chunk of change to those that answer the call to action, whether it be for the region-specific security faction that wants those terrible drugs out of circulation, or the shady holographic fixer Ruto who seems to have a finger in every pie in Stanton. And while with enough planning or luck you can walk away from this event with a sizable increase to the numbers of your in-game wallet, oftentimes the most successful takes from JumpTown will be as part of a group, so there's always the inevitable division of that number between those involved as the payout is divvied up. There is also the argument that as those that get stuck into JumpTown do their thing, the verse is just a little bit less congested, and the money that can be made through the more regular means flows just a little bit faster, cargo hauling being one such activity. With the availability of popular commodities being just a little bit more flush depending on the time of day, many of the hauler mindset will forego involving themselves in such dynamic events to get cargo that normally sells out just a little bit quicker. And while that's all well and good, I love me a good bit of cargo myself, I'd argue that the game loops one might normally involve themselves in will always be there, whereas these events will not. And I'd also like to make the point that money making isn't everything. Sure, there's always a ship or vehicle that you'll have your eye on, a new game loop that you want to get into, whether it's mining with a prospector or hauling with a C2, and that takes alpha UEC. But with wipes on the horizon and the final product of this great tech demo far beyond our reach, the continual grind for in-game money shouldn't always be your primary goal. Star Citizen is currently, at its heart, a collection of experiences. Whether it's a folder brimming with screenshots or a handful of stories of hilarious and buggy encounters, whether solo or with others, it's not the final wallet count that you remember as the most enjoyable or positive experience, but rather, the experience. So while the servers might be in a rough state and things don't always work as intended, events like JumpTown are a brief window to change the narrative of your collection of experiences within the verse. JumpTown is wild. Sometimes it can be a bit slow, whether it be during a lull in conflict or a particular group just locks it down so tightly that those on the offensive look to greener pastures, but it could also be quite chaotic. From smaller groups all vying for control at the same time to two larger factions duking it out, and sometimes it can be dead. Like everyone on the server all at once suddenly assumed that it would be locked down, so nobody bothers checking and you can kind of just make money. It's also a great opportunity to try something different. Sure, you could fly down, hope for the best, grab some boxes and make some money, or you can take an alternate route. Test out the signature range of your favorite ship, the Drake Cutter. Probably the best damn starter ship ever. I'm not biased. Turns out the signature might be pretty low. You can also drop down a bit further out. Maybe spend half an hour running to the location, undetected and near invisible in your Horizon post-death suit and helmet. Sometimes you don't have to collect boxes, or even get into fights at JumpTown. Sometimes you can just post up nearby, invisible like a ghost, and watch different factions at play. Until an A2 comes and rearranges the area. Ultimately, JumpTown is an interesting event that, while it really has one primary goal, can actually be a series of different motivators. For those that enjoy the thrill of ship combat, it's almost a sure bet that you'll find it. For those that want to make money, there's a chance for that too. And for those that want a reason to use their ground vehicles that, let's be honest, don't really have a lot of use, it's one of the only real chances to do that without having to make up some arbitrary goal. So if you're on the fence and you've never taken part in the JumpTown event, next time you hear the call, maybe say yes. You never know what experience you'll have, and who knows, maybe you too will have a blast. And there you have it. If you enjoyed the video or learned something of value, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. If you'd like to go one step further and support in the channel, you can become a member today for just $1. I also stream on Twitch. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Be sure to check out this video here. YouTube thinks it's up your alley. As always, citizens, stay safe in the verse, and I'll catch you all next time.